Poverty doesn't just shape what kind of job you get. Sometimes it keeps you from getting hired at all. From bus routes that don't quite connect, to not having the right clothes for an interview, to being the first in your family to navigate financial aid, trade school, or a union apprenticeship. For Black and brown communities, those little things add up to a system that says you're overqualified, you're underqualified, you're everything but just right.
There were some students that I know that were guided through the process, but then there was a lot of us who weren't. So we didn't have knowledge of it. And exposure is everything.
Throughout this Truth Be Told series, we're exploring racial inequity across the lifespan, how systems, history, identity, and opportunity shape every stage of life for Black and brown Americans. Today, we're in the part of the lifespan where so many dreams either launch or stall. We're talking about work, those first real jobs, and how race and class shape who gets a fair shot in the workforce. We meet someone who knows that system from the inside. Vanessa Hall grew up in public housing in Lackawanna, New York. She hustled through collection jobs and overnight shifts. And now, she helps other people step into family-sustaining careers.
I was praying and I said, God, I'm finna walk into this building and I'm gonna be great on purpose. And if you ask anybody who around me, after I said that prayer, I say that every day. I encourage my students every day to be great on purpose. Why be mediocre when you could be great?
Before we meet our guest, we're going to hear a poem about holding on to hope when the jobs, the bills, and the grind feel like too much.
I Got Work to Do by Sufana Elise Wajet. Every morning I hit the road to get to my 9 to 5. I'm barely getting by. So I picked up another gig and it's still not enough to pay for the gas I burned getting to the first job. I have gone to many lengths climbing the corporate ladder with rungs greased with envy and deceit. I come highly skilled, well educated, and fully trained. They say I'm overqualified. Doesn't that mean that I'm qualified? Period? Excuse me, the landlord is at the door. He says he's about to raise the rent. And he hasn't even fixed a heating vent. Most High, I need a sign. I'm about to post up on this pantry line. The phone rings. Hello? Yes, this is she. I got the position? You really want me? My prayers have been answered. I can sleep tonight. Because tomorrow morning, I got work to do.
That feeling in the poem, the grind, the hope, the exhaustion. It's not just about work. It's about the barriers you hit long before you ever fill out an application. Transportation, childcare, rent that keeps going up while wages don't, and a lifetime of people telling you you're not qualified, even when you know you are. To understand the weight of those barriers and the strength it takes to push past them, we start where so many stories like this begin. In childhood. For Vanessa Hall, that story starts in Lackawanna, New York, in a tight-knit family, in public housing, in a neighborhood where community carried you even when resources didn't. And what it was like growing up in Lackawanna, New York.
Growing up in Lackawanna, I was raised in the First Ward. The First Ward is predominantly Black and people of color. We have a very high Muslim population, but I grew up in the projects. To a single mom, it's 5 of us. I am the only girl in the household, so girls rule. I remember getting off the bus at our community center. It was called the Friendship House. There used to be busloads of kids getting off the bus there, literally. It'd be 40, 50 of us there after school. And they used to take us on trips, and we used to go places, and they taught us, and they were mentors. And it was great. You know, you knew everybody on the block. Somebody could say something to your kids.
Right.
You know, if somebody called your mother, you was in trouble by them and when you got home. So that was the type of community that I grew up in. And then once I became, I'm going to say got into about 5th or 6th grade, the community center left. And I believe that that put a hole in my community because we didn't have nowhere to go.
Yeah. Friendship House wasn't just a place to go after school. It was a safe, structured environment that kept kids connected to adults who cared about them. When community centers close in redlined or under-resourced neighborhoods, research shows youth lose access to mentorship, academic support, and safe play spaces. All factors that reduce violence and improve long-term outcomes. It wasn't just a building that closed. That protective layer vanished.
So everybody pretty much knew everybody. But there was a difference between the children that lived in my side of the neighborhood and the children that lived over the bridge.
Okay.
Because Lackawanna is very segregated. Not so much now, but back then it was very segregated. So with that being said, opportunities weren't for everybody. It wasn't that we didn't want them, but we just didn't know about them. Drugs was running rampant. As a kid, I knew where the crack houses was. I knew who sold weed. These were things that were normal to us.
Right.
I think that when we lost the Friendship House, it just made everything more clear. It was always there.
Yeah.
But we had those mentors and those people who strayed us away from that.
Right. Balance. Balance. Yeah.
So when it wasn't there anymore, everything that we saw became what we wanted to be. We seen the dope boys with the nice cars and the spinners. Remember, spinners was everywhere. The beats in the back of the car. That's what we wanted to see, and that's what we emulated. So it wasn't cool. Like, nobody talked about college. When I was younger, I don't remember having those conversations.
Yeah.
Even when I was in school. But I do remember people telling me how to hustle. I do remember that. But I don't remember being molded to be the woman that I am today. I remember being molded into the street life.
Scenes like the ones Vanessa describes didn't happen by chance. Decades of housing segregation, disinvestment, and the war on drugs funneled addiction and policing into Black communities. Not because of who lived there, but because of policy choices. And when supportive institutions disappear, the street economy often fills the gap.
Why wasn't it rebuilt? Why is it now that I'm 30-something years old and they're just now trying to build a community center? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got 30 years of nothing.
Right. So at some point, though, mom was able to so you didn't stay in the projects. Like, mom was able to get access to a home.
My mother was a hard-working woman. Sometimes she worked 2 or 3 jobs to take care of us. My mother, she signed up to get a Habitat house. And she worked and she built. And that's the house she live in today.
Yeah, and now, so for those who don't know, the Habitat house, you can get a home, but you have to put in a certain amount of hours.
Yes, you have to work
help
and build other people's houses, and you have to do other community service work. And me and my brother used to do it with her. My mother, she was pregnant and everything, and she worked her butt off, and she got us a house. And she built the house right across the street from the projects we grew up in. Literally, I couldn't understand that.
But you mentioned it was a community, so she probably was thinking the same thing. Like,
worked.
this is my community. Yeah,
it worked because my aunt was across the street, my cousins was across, the kids that I played with. She didn't uproot us from where we were from, but she did show us that there's more to than where we at. You know, we can get more, we can do more.
Black women have long been the backbone of both family and labor in America, often juggling multiple jobs with wages that don't reflect their contribution. Even today, Black women are overrepresented in low-wage, essential roles because of long-standing labor segregation. Vanessa's mom carried all of that while building a home, literally, with her own hands.
And I was the only girl. I had brothers. So who was doing the cooking and the cleaning when my mother was at work? It was me. And that happens to a lot of households in our community. There are always the children, the older children, that have to help take care of the younger siblings. But that kind of put a damper on my childhood when you really think about it.
A lot of older siblings in low-income households become what researchers call parentified, taking on adult responsibilities long before they're grown. It's common in communities without affordable childcare, and it shapes everything from education to mental health.
I could say that. Would I do it all over again? 10 times. 10 times. Because I seen what my mother sacrificed to get us where we are.
So what did that mean for you to get where you are now?
I come from a praying family. We are a very close-knit, loving family. My grandparents, Frank and Viola Blakely, and Barbara Hall and James Brown, my family made us stick together. They made us take care of each other. So because I came from that, everything I do is about my family. Yeah. And I was raised on love. Yeah. I don't know about nobody else. Yes, a lot of us was raised on survival, but we survived with love. So everything that I've done in these last, I'm going to say 5-6 years, has been because I want my family to have more. And not just my immediate family, my community is my family. It's aunts and uncles. I call auntie and uncle ain't got a piece of blood in me. Right. But it's about community at this point.
Researchers have long debated the connection between family structure and socioeconomic outcomes in Black communities. But much of that debate ignored the real drivers: structural racism, under-resourced schools, housing discrimination, and labor markets stacked against Black workers. Yet in the middle of all of that, Vanessa's family gave her something powerful: a sense of collective responsibility and belonging.
My grandfather always used to tell me, it's not just about you. And I think those words stuck with me so much when I started realizing that I can help change things. And even if it's just with my words, even if it's just me encouraging people, you can help change things because it's not always about you.
By high school, Vanessa was already carrying more responsibility than many adults. Now, she's stepping into young adulthood, that fragile moment between childhood and work, where one conversation, or the absence of one, can shape entire futures. And now you're moving on into high school, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
High school was not great for me. And the reason why is because I'm an old soul. So all of my friends are older than me. So when I got into high school, all of my friends were graduating. I was a little trouble sometimes. And I actually left Lackawanna High and I went to an alternative school for my junior year. When I came back from my senior year, I wanted to go to the Air Force. I wanted to go to the Air Force to be a nurse. My brother was serving in Iraq.
Oh, okay.
And he was doing searches and the bomb blew up. And my mother was like, you're not going to no Army. You ain't going to no Air Force because she almost lost her baby. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school. And then I started realizing that all of my friends were getting college debt back. I was like, I'm not paying these people no money. Like, nah, So I knew at that point before I graduated that I didn't want to go to college. Right. And the crazy thing, like now when I think back, people didn't talk to me about it. Like I had guidance counselors in school. I don't ever remember having a conversation about what school I wanted to go to. Yeah. What I wanted to do. And it boggles my mind now because this is what I do for a living now. Right. That so many students get swept under the rug. And I call it redlining of education.
Ooh, that's a good one. This experience isn't unusual.
I didn't want to go.
Across the country, students in high poverty districts often share a single counselor with hundreds of peers. National research shows Black students receive less college advising and are more likely to be overlooked. Not because they lack ability, but because schools with fewer resources struggle to provide individualized support. And when you're the first in your family to navigate higher education, a missing conversation can shape your entire path.
Because there are some students that I know that were told about scholarships. I know this for a fact now. Like there were some students that I know that were guided through the process, but then it was a lot of us who weren't. So we didn't have knowledge of it. And exposure is everything.
Exposure, The difference between knowing a path exists and assuming it's not for you. For many Black and brown students, the college process feels like a maze with no map, no guide, and no safety net. And the fear Vanessa felt around college debt, it's not imaginary. Because of the racial wealth gap, Black students borrow more, default more often, and carry loans longer. College doesn't just feel like a risk, it is one. So Vanessa went straight to work.
This is we were the first people to go to college in our families. Like my mother and my father didn't go to college. I remember my mother went to Bryan and Stratton and got a certification. My dad never went to college. My dad he's the smartest man I know, but he didn't have a degree.
Right.
So I didn't have people that I can fall back on and say, hey, how does this work?
How do I navigate this system?
And also, like, I didn't have that encouragement. It was like, okay, you got to go get a job. I started working at 18. First thing I did was become a bill collector. I did that for about 12, 13 years.
For many working class young adults, that first job becomes a treadmill. Wake up, work, pay bills, repeat. Before long, the years start stacking up, with little room left to imagine another path.
After years of being in the workforce, I started realizing that computers were taking over my job. Instead of me leaving a voicemail, I was pushing a button and a computer was leaving a voicemail. So I knew that I was going to be working until I died. So I knew I needed to get into a career that was sustainable.
Wow.
So I went into healthcare because I had no education and everything was entry level. I came in as a CNA. I was overworked and I was underpaid. I was working 70, 80 hours a week just to get overtime.
Right. Across the U.S., Black women make up a disproportionate share of home health aides and CNAs, essential but underpaid roles with limited pathways to advancement. It's part of a larger pattern of occupational segregation that pushes Black women into the lowest paying jobs, even when they have equal or greater skill.
That's one thing about me. Since I've been 18 years old, I have never been without a job for more than 2 days.
God bless you.
Like I would quit a job, but I have another job the next day because I always knew I had to have something coming in because it wasn't still about me. Right. I still had younger brothers.
Yeah.
I still had younger brothers that liked to wear Jordans. They wanted cell phones. They wanted new MacBooks and all that fun stuff. And I knew my mother couldn't do it, not on her single income. I helped take care of my family. So while I'm working and I'm draining myself, life started lifing. I lost my best friend. Her name was Jessica. She's the most beautiful person in the world. She was 33 years old. And the day after she died, I caught a plane to California. And I said to myself, I talked to God, and I said, I can't come back to Buffalo and be the same person that I was.
Grief can break you open. It can push you into change you didn't know you were ready for. Before her friend passed, Vanessa had filled out a form for an information session at Northland Workforce Training Center, Buffalo's manufacturing and energy training campus. They kept calling. She kept rescheduling. Then one day, she answered.
My phone rang. It was Northland. I made an appointment, and I actually showed up for myself. I think that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, other than giving birth to my child, because that's when I started to see my full potential and what I could do.
She took 2 buses from Lackawanna to get there. Northland offered something rare: wraparound support, instructors who check in when you miss class, coaches who help you navigate benefits and barriers, and clear pathways into stable, middle-wage jobs. Research shows that sector-based job training programs designed with equity and support services substantially increases earnings for workers of color and improves long-term job stability. For Vanessa, it was transformative.
Long street, and I was praying, and I said, God, I'm finna walk into this building, and I'm gonna be great on purpose. And if you ask anybody who around me, after I said that prayer, I say that every day. I encourage my students every day to be great on purpose. Why be mediocre when you could be great? I didn't know what mechatronics was at all. I just knew I was good with numbers and I loved puzzles. I could take things apart and put them back together. And it was the shortest class they had. So I knew in my mind that I could sacrifice 8 months. I went to school during the day. I worked overnight. This went on for 8 months. And that was the longest 8 months. I used to cry. I used to call my friend Tamika and cry because I was so tired. And she used to say, Nessa, you going to be all right. It's almost over. She encouraged me to keep pushing. And prior to me graduating at Northland, I was working at Harmac. So I worked from 10 to 8 in the morning, but I went to school from 1 to 5. So when did I really sleep? On top of 2-hour bus rides.
So 10 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm. And then I had to get home. And then I had to be at the bus stop by 11 o'clock. So I can get to school by 1.
Just enough time to get ready to go.
I had to come home, take a shower, get after the bus stop. And then when I came home, I wasn't home until 7:30. And I had to be to work at 10 o'clock. As hard as I was working and as hard as I was praying, it had to pay off. I didn't have a choice but to make it work for me. And I remember they have a career hiring event at Northland. I remember walking down the street. It was pouring down rain, and I had leggings, rain boots, and a T-shirt and my rain jacket, and I had my clothes in my book bag. And I went in that bathroom, and I slapped a brand new wig on my head. And I got fully dressed. I got dressed. And I walked out of there with 60 resumes. And I went to every table and I said, hi, my name is Vanessa. What do you do? I had 10 job offers. I was accepted at an internship for the NFTA as a mechanic.
So before you even graduated.
Before I graduated.
You had those roles and offers were coming in.
Yep. And I am not the brightest light bulb in the room. I do flicker.
You don't
and
give
I tell
yourself
people
enough
that
credit.
no. I know myself. I just know how to apply myself though. And that's what I tell people. You don't have to be the smartest one in the room. But if you apply yourself, you can go further than anybody else in that room. I had graduated and I had my mechatronics certification and I was working at Harmac full time. And this was during COVID. I ended up getting pregnant. I was 7 months pregnant and Dr. Storms called me and she told me that Northland was about to start a mechanical engineering course. And that all of my credits from my mechatronics certification would transfer over.
Now, is this a professor from Northland?
This is the VP.
Okay.
I thought about it, and I knew that I was living good and I was doing good, but now it wasn't really just about me. I had somebody else I had to take care of.
Yeah.
And when I started school, my baby was 3 months old. And thank God for my village, my family, because my brother, when I told him I was pregnant and I told him I wanted to go back to school, he said, you can go back to school. And I said, who gonna take care of my baby? And he said, Nessa, I'm right here. I used to drop my baby off at 7 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday. And I didn't pick my baby up until after midnight. My brother is a single bachelor. And he kept a newborn baby 5 days a week like that for me.
What did you say your grandfather told you about family?
Everything.
But you said we don't give up on each other. We don't let each other down.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. And my mother raised us to take care of each other. And my big brother, he did that for me. He took care of me and my baby.
Extended family has long been a cornerstone of Black survival and joy. A communal safety net in a country where childcare often costs more than rent. These networks help parents stay in school, stay in jobs, and stay afloat despite economic barriers. Vanessa had a village at home, and she had a village at school, but her job was a different story. That's where inequity showed up.
So while I'm working at Harmac, this is what they call a gray wave. So all the baby boomers are dying or they're retiring, right? So when I walked into Harmac for my interview, I knew that. I saw that. Half of these people are going to be gone within the next 5 years. So when they start retiring, I went to my supervisor and I said, hey, I want to have a first shift. I want a first shift. So I can take my baby on a walk on a Tuesday. I've never taken my baby on a walk. And he was like, okay, soon as they retire, we got you. You all right? And then they ended up hiring one of the engineer's nephews, a little 19-year-old kid who didn't look like me, right? So it was a first shift open, and I was going to apply for it. And my supervisor took me in the office, and he looked me in my face and told me, don't apply for it because I wasn't qualified for it. And that blew me away because at that time, I was running 2 and 3 rooms, pregnant.
Right.
Like, by myself. I'm an entry-level mechanic. I'm doing things that I'm running circles around these people. And you gonna tell me I'm not qualified? And not only, I was trainable because I learned everything that I needed to learn to get where I was at.
Yeah. The experience Vanessa describes is painfully common. Across industries, Black workers are less likely to be promoted, even with comparable or better experience. A pattern driven by implicit bias and long-standing inequities in training, opportunity, and evaluation. For Vanessa, this wasn't just unfair, it was the breaking point.
I packed up my tool bag. I set my badge on the night supervisor desk and told him I would see you guys later. I quit my job.
Yeah.
And I quit my job for my family. So Carolyn called me, Dr. Storms, and she asked me if I would teach the Mirror Summer Youth Program.
Right. So
when she asked me if I would teach the Mirror Summer Youth Program, I told her no first. And then she told me how much money I was going to be making. And I was like, okay. Right?
So she could have started with that.
But I started teaching. And it was just a summer job.
By the time Vanessa finishes her mechanical engineering program at Northland, she's not just thinking about her own career. She's thinking about everyone coming up behind her. And the question she keeps asking is, who gets to learn about these paths? And who never even hears they exist?
That started giving me a quality of life. So since I've been at Northland, I've always shared my experiences. If you follow me on social media, you see me when I was working at the NFTA. You see me when I was working at Hermit, because I'm the type, I want to show people what I'm doing, because if I could do it, you can too, right?
Absolutely.
And especially being an African-American woman. I was a mechanic at the NFTA. So there weren't no Black women there.
You're the only one.
When I worked at Hermac, there were no women there, let alone a Black woman. So I was the only, and I wanted to show women that they can do these jobs too. These are some of the highest paying jobs that are being offered, but 70% of them are going to men. Make it make sense, and women are 47% of the workforce across the board.
So
that don't make sense,
yeah,
right? So I always showed people what I was doing. So when Carolyn came up to me and she said, Vanessa, you want to be an outreach specialist? I was like, I already do that, sure. Sure. So now I'm seeing kids walking here, young women, young men that look like me, that come from the same places that I'm coming from, but they have no knowledge of electricity. They have no knowledge of machining, and every last one of them can exist in the XYZ access because they game all day.
Yeah.
That is one of the most lucrative careers you could possibly have right now. But they don't even know about it.
Across the country, Black workers are still underrepresented in the skilled trades. Fields like machining, electrical work, carpentry, welding, and advanced manufacturing. Historically, unions and apprenticeship programs excluded Black workers through formal and informal barriers. And even today, data show that Black apprentices are less likely to complete programs and more likely to be channeled into lower paying specialties. That's why equitable outreach isn't just a bonus, it's a justice issue.
And now when I'm going into schools, I'm a numbers person. I am such a numbers person. It's just, they grab me. Buffalo Public Schools is the second largest school district in New York State.
Correct.
How many trade schools we got?
Ooh, Buffalo Public Schools, do we have one?
2.
Is it what,
Burgard and McKinley.
Oh, okay, yeah.
2. We're the second largest school district. Go to Alden Central School. Go to Alden High School right now. They got a whole machine shop. They got a welding lab. They got an electric.
And that's not a trade school. That's just a part of the regular
high school
program.
And it started making sense to me why we're not in these spaces. Because, again, redlining in education. And so now I felt like it was my job to make sure that people that look like me, come from where I'm coming from, living a life that I was living, didn't have direction. We had to create awareness.
Yeah.
Exposure. That's the number one thing, exposure.
In many suburban districts, career and technical programs come with fully equipped labs, updated machines, and small class sizes. But in many urban districts, especially in predominantly black neighborhoods, CTE programs are fewer, older, and drastically underfunded. Research shows early exposure to CTE increases graduation rates, raises lifetime earnings, and builds clear pathways into middle-skilled jobs. But those opportunities aren't evenly distributed. That's the gap Vanessa is trying to close.
Why are we gatekeeping this? Why aren't we telling people? So now I'm at the Little Loop football games. I'm not just talking to the kids, but I'm talking to people my age.
Right.
Because a lot of those people who are in these careers, their fathers were doing it. Or their grandfathers was doing it.
In other communities,
In other communities. But in ours, we don't know nothing about that.
When young people never hear about high-wage, high-growth careers, they assume those jobs aren't for them. Vanessa shows up to change that.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Vanessa Hall. I am an outreach specialist and an instructor here at Northland Workforce Training Center. So I'll be completely honest with you. I'm different than anybody else in this building as an employee because I actually went through the program. I'm actually a graduate of the program.
Have you seen people that you've brought to Northland graduate?
So let me tell you about one. His name is Sincere Worthy. I got him to graduate high school. He graduated high school in January. I got him in a Northland program. He graduated from a mechatronics program in August. Before he came in, he told me he wanted to work at Tesla. Every week I go to Tesla for a tour with my students. Who's the first person I see? Sincere Worthy, working at Tesla, doing the right things. It warmed my heart, and I give him a hug every time because I'm so proud of him.
Stories like Sincere's show what the research confirms. When workers of color get access to equitable, well-supported technical training, their earnings go up, their job stability increases, and the racial wealth gap begins to shrink, even if slowly. And Vanessa isn't just focused on skills.
So there are over 19,000 cities in the United States of America, 19,000 being the richest, 1 being the poorest. Now everybody get a number in your head of where you think Buffalo stands. Buffalo is the 3rd poorest cities in the United States of America. Think about that. The average household income is about $38,000 for a family of 5. The careers that I'm going to offer you, entry level $40,000 to $50,000 starting off.
I talk about life lessons with my students. And this was what I gave them this week. Every system has components, right? Make sure the components that are in your system are in working order. Sometimes you may have to substitute components because they outdated. Make sure your system is up to par. All of them inputs that's coming into you, are they good? Or are you getting negative wires being attached to you? Is your system good?
I like this is technical knowledge turned into wisdom. The kind that sticks with a young person long after they've left the classroom. And she does more than teach. She assists the trainees with mitigating any obstacles, childcare, transportation, food insecurity, clothing.
It's so much easier.
Wraparound support like this is often the difference between dropping out and stepping into a stable, long-term career. Programs like these are proven to dramatically increase completion rates and job placement.
But I can tell you that
Success isn't just about willpower. It's about having the structure around you to make that willpower possible.
When we went to Walmart,
Once you are accepted into the school of your choice, you get a success coach. We call them career coaches. This person works with you day in and day out of your academic career, plus 3 years after. So when I say work with you, what I'm talking about any barrier that you have. I tell people all the time, 8 months changed my life. And I didn't do it by myself. I had a team working with me, not only outside, because I'm a firm believer that people ain't got no problem helping you when they know you getting yourself together.
What is the legacy that you want to leave at Northland for your family and community, or community and family? Because you talk about them interchangeably.
That all it takes is hard work and determination to be great on purpose. That's it. I live by that statement. Like, I want everybody to be great on purpose. Because if you great, somebody else gonna see you being great, and they gonna want to be great. And we can make a great situation for everybody. Mm-hmm. And then be happy in what you do. Mm-hmm. I love my job. I honestly can tell you, there has not been a day that I said I hate my job. Mm. Like, them kids get on my nerves. I tell them every day they get on my nerves. But I love them because I see the growth and the potential, and it makes my heart smile.
Vanessa's life is a map of barriers laid down long before she was born. From segregated neighborhoods to underfunded schools to workplaces where Black women are praised for their labor but denied leadership. But her life is also a map of resistance. A mother who built a home with her hands, a brother who held a newborn so she could stay in school, a training center that met her where she was, and a woman determined to lift others as she climbed. So how can we amplify Vanessa's work and be great on purpose? Understand how race and class shaped the labor market. These patterns didn't happen by chance. They were built through policy. Support policies that expand trade schools, apprenticeships, and paid training programs in Black and brown communities. Push for child care support, transportation subsidies, and fair promotion practices. We all have a role in making the labor market more equitable. So, the incredibly encouraging Vanessa Hall, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
All right. I'll be looking for what you're doing next soon. In our next episode, we continue this journey through a lifespan into home ownership. We meet Wiley and Jerry Hughes as they navigate the promise and the peril of trying to buy a home in Western New York. I'm your host, Wil Green. Thanks for listening. Truth Be Told is a production of Buffalo Toronto Public Media and Cruise Control Media in collaboration with Clementine Gold Group, LLC, and WUFO.